How we doing, people? Another day, another video. Today's mission, rear cross member, repaint, refurb. So we have to do a lot of these usual Defender problems. They love to rust. So most Defenders that you see out there is rust coming through on it. So what we do is we don't use anything daft regarding paint. So we've tried everything, we've done everything with them, different paints, different primers, two-pack paints, everything. And the nature of Defender back cross members, where they lip round corners, etc., whatever you do, rust will start coming through again. So the thicker, heavier paint you use, yes, it'll take longer, but in the long run, it's harder for it to be fetched down and come off again. So what we do is we fetch them back, and like yearly, before it starts at summer or on your yearly service, just fetch them down, repaint them. So all we use is primer, just rattle can primer, and some satin or gloss black aerosol can, which it freshens them up. It looks nice. It lasts you at least 12 months, depending on what truck does and how you look after it. And it's basically quick and easy. Once you've done it, you've got everything off, you've primed and painted it. Next time you come around, it's just quick flat off with sandpaper, DA or whatever, and you go again with your paint. So obviously this one's got no tow bar on. It's a little bit harder if you have got a tow bar, so you can either take that off. Some people take them off, just have them shot blasted and powder coated, or just leave them on, work around them. Same thing with mud flaps. So if your mud flap brackets are scabby and they're ready for painting, so you can either mask your flaps up, your bits of rubber, or you can drill rivets out and bolt them back on. These have obviously been bolted on, but I'm going to take all brackets off because they're still in good condition. They haven't been long gone, so we'll take them off, and it's just a bit easier to work around everything. Same goes with these 6 cross member bolts. If you can take them out, take them out, because you can mask back end off easier. You're not working around them so much. It's sometimes a good idea to change these for stainless while you're doing it, because when you've done, it'll make back end look prettier. What else? I think that's about it really. So what we're going to do with this one is wire wheel on grinder to get thick off, because it's scabby. It's rough. Although it looks nice, it's just been wafted over with some satin black. It's a bit heavy underneath, so we're going to go for wire wheel on grinder, little DA sander, and then get some paint on it. So if you have a look close up, you can see it's rough. It looks nice from 20 foot away, but you can see it's rough. So we'll for starters, we'll get mud flaps off. I know these are going to come off pretty easy. They can be a pain to get off. You sometimes have to cut them off with grinder or have a chop at them, but I know these will come off, so that's one of the reasons why I'm taking them off. That one's a 13. Like I say, we've tried all sorts of exotic paints and thick stuff and all sorts, and yeah, it lasts a bit longer. It does, and maybe it looks a bit nicer, but depending on what you're doing with truck, you know, if it's a working vehicle or something like that, you just mainly want it not to rot away and just want it to look presentable. So we found that satin black or gloss black is a good all-rounder. It does the job what you need it to do. Let's see. put them bolts, them nuts down there so we can kick them all over the floor and lose them later. Like I say, you can leave these in and work round them, but ultimately it's easier to mask up with them out, and you can get a bit of, if you've got corrosion around bike bolts, you can get some cutting compound on a rag or something and give it a rub and make it look a bit more gooder. We are going to speed this up a bit later on, so we're not going to bore you to death. So we're going to start masking up now, purely because if when you're fetching it down with your sandpaper or grinder or whatever, if you do catch paintwork, it might just save it a little bit. So we'll get a layer of masking tape on it. As you can probably see, it's not best masking tape in world. This is usually Danny's job, but we'll get through. Have a shot on that one a bit. Obviously you might fetch bits of this off when you've been sanding it down, so next time round you can, before you put paint on, you can make a better job of it. Because ultimately the better masking is, the less paint you've got to fetch off afterwards. Might even be able to drag Danny in to do this if he's not too busy. You ain't got to be a rocket scientist to do this, really. You just need either a dry day, a bit of a shed to do it in, and some cheap paint and some masking tape, really, and it'll make back end at Defender look a lot better, and it'll stop it rusting. Now, go at top with some 2-inch tape. So yeah, we're about happy with that. So grinder, wire wheel, good tool, but they can be extremely dangerous. So if you are doing this, you know, if you ain't got much experience with them, I'd put some pretty decent gloves on, and of course mask and glasses. We'll crack on. Right, so now we're to that stage. Glad I've done with that. We're about, come and have a look. We're a bit smoother than when we started. So we've got majority off, got thick off. Yours might be better than this, it might be worse. So obviously if you're going back to bare steel and starting again, then it doesn't really matter what you're putting over it. But if you are just sanding it down and you're leaving old paint on, if it's nice and clean, then just be mindful that not all paints make. So you might be better going to your local paint shop and get them to match it up with something that's compatible with it. But if you're going back to bare steel, then you know you're fine to go again. So next step, we're gonna go over it with a little sander and hopefully get it a bit nicer. Back on with mask. Right, now we've done with all that. Once it's wiped off, you see it's about there. There's not much more that we can get off there now. So next job, where are we? So screwdriver or scraper or something sharp like that. What we're going to do is we're just going to nip round all edges, any bits of paint or crud left that we can't get off with grinder or sander. So we're just going to fetch them out next. It's areas like this that's why it doesn't matter what you put on there, how thick paint is, in these edges and gaps you're never going to seal it up, so rust is always going to creep back through. Like I said, thicker paint, yeah, it'll take longer to come back through, but it's harder to get off when you need to redo it. So as you can see with this job, it's not end of the world, it's quick and easy. it is a job that can definitely be tackled at home. You don't need any fancy tools or out like that, but obviously if you are doing it by hand, if you ain't got grinders and sanders and stuff like that, then it is going to take you a lot longer, depending on how bad your cross member actually is. But don't be scared to get stuck in and have a go. I wouldn't recommend using your best screwdriver for this anyway, if you are using a screwdriver. The more time you spend on this, obviously the better it's going to get. For the nature of what this truck's doing, then you know I'm not going to spend hours and hours on it, because chucking stuff in bike, dogs are going to be jumping in bike, connecting straps up to it, whatever, shackles. It's going to get marked, it's going to get scratched. So you know, it's we're not looking for the best job in the world on this one, but it gives you a good idea on what to do if you want to have a go yourself. These are another area as well, these jacking points, that you can just never get 100% clean in them edges. So that's about it for that. What we'll do next is we'll get some sandpaper, just nip around them edges where we couldn't get the A into. Again, the more time that you spend on this, the better finished product you'll get. So I think that's about there, really. Like I say, the more time that you spend at it, the nicer it's going to look at end of the day. But if you want to just do a back cross member so it looks right, looks nice, and more importantly, it's not going to corrode, it's not going to rot through, then you've no need to spend hours and hours on it. You know, just get it fetched down, get it done, get it cleaned up. Just good enough for paint to stick. So now we'll, I just need to nip around that top of that bolt there. Forgot that one. Will do. So next step now, I'm going to go and get some panel wash thinners, just get it wiped down, get any bits of grease or like that off, and then we can crack on with paint. Right, standard thinners, obviously clean rag. Don't be shy with thinners, because if you are, it'll come back and bite you. Make sure you're going as far in edges as you can with that. That's about that. So wipe a bit of this dust off back of the truck, just so we can get a bit more masking tape on. Especially on a white truck. If it's black, it's not so bad, is it? Not going to win no awards for tidiness, but it'll do the job. Right, so we've got light grey primer to go on for a start. I've got about a coat's worth of dark grey primer, which we'll finish off with. So obviously black will go off at top of it better, but no fancy with this. This is just from our local paint supplier. Get a good check up, so see you in a minute. Alright, we'll get to go. Mask. Get a light dusting on for a start. No need to rush it. Get as much as you can on without getting it to run, basically. Make sure you're getting all edges for a start. And yeah, just steady away and have a go. We'll give that probably 20 minutes, half an hour to dry. Come back, do it all again. So it's had about 15 minutes. It's a pretty warm day today, so it's virtually touch dry. Depending on what temperature you're working in, sometimes it needs a little bit more, a little bit less. So we're going to go ahead, put second coat on, starting in edges again. So second coat, don't be shy with it. Really get it built up. Obviously, depending on how badly pitted your cross member is and how good a finish you want, you need probably at least 3 coats on it. So, as I said, this is light grey primer. I've got enough in dark grey primer to do the last coat. So, next one, I think will be as last with this one. So, round 3, rinse and repeat. Same again. Like I say, this time dark grey primer just to get get a bit better chance for black to look better. So that's going to be enough for his primer. Give that about half an hour, something like that, to go good and hard. Again, different temperatures, different drying times, but with today, I think about half an hour should be good enough, and we'll crack on with putting it black on. Right then, so it's had about half an hour to dry, touch dry, so we can hit it with a bit of Scotch-Brite now, just get it to key and get any imperfections out, and then we can get some black paint on it. So, just a bit of Scotch-Brite. We're not like we're rubbing it down, just, you know, getting it a light rub, just to get a bit of a key. Or any lumps, muck or flies that you've got in it, they'll can fetch them out. So as I've said, we're not being too precious with this one because it's, you know, nature, what it's going to do. It's going to get scratched and bits and bobs, so we're not going all out on it. But if this were a customer's truck, we'd perhaps paint this with I-Build primer or red oxide or something like that, and keep building it up and flattening it back to get all this pitted out, what you can see. But for working vehicles, it's no point spending time on them, because in 6 months it's probably going to need doing again. So yeah, it'll just tidy it up. So now we've done that, clean rag, just get a wipe off to get all dust off. That'll do for that. So, like I said, just any satin black, cheap as you like. We've found that it all does the same job. What I would do as well before you start putting any paint or primer on is cover your exhaust up. So if you've got a nice clean exhaust, just chuck a rag over it, stop getting any overspray on it. I'm not bothered about this one because it needs cleaning, and not too distant future it'll be having an alive exhaust on it, so not too worried about that. As with primer, start with edges first, a light dusting, let that go dry, and then crack on with coating it up. So again, give that about 15 minutes to dry. That's the best thing about this stuff, it doesn't take long to dry. Whereas if it's like a gloss black Amorite or something like that, it does need at least like 24 hours to go completely hard. But this stuff, it's quick and easy. We've had about 15 minutes. First coat of black's on, so we'll go for round two. That'll do for round two. As you can see this time, put a bit more on, like with primer. Get a bit of thickness on. The more you put on, better it's going to look at end of day. But I think that'll do us for coat number two. Right, we're in for round three. Give it about 15-20 minutes to dry. So under here, this is when it's all painted nice. This is going to really look scruffy when you're way back there. So we're not going to be bothering too much about this right now, because eventually, once it's all wax oiled, this will all be fetched down. Obviously wax oiled, but for now, just to make it look nice, what we're going to do is just get a quick blast off with some black paint, just so it's a bit easier on eye. So we'll go in for number three. So that'll about do it for satin black, really. Like I said previous, more you put on, the better finish you're going to get, but 3 coats, that's about minimum, really. If you really wanted to build it up and make it look nice, then, you know, fill your boots with it. But we'll let this dry. Don't rush it when you're putting it back together. Let it go completely hard. So, you know, I'd give this at least an hour and a half at least before you start bolting stuff back to it. As I say, don't rush it, because there's no worse than fresh paint with fingerprints in it. Right then, so we've given it about an hour. Should be touch dry now, so we can start reassembling it, put bits back on and put masking tape off. So we'll see how good a job I've done with masking tape. Nelly. Got some helpers now. Bit of touch up on white there, we'll get that later. Now, most of that on the back end there, that black, that's just dust, so we're not going to start wiping around with thinners while paint's not super hard, so we'll leave that for a while and get off a bit later on. So next job, as I mentioned before, you cover the exhaust tip up, but with us not being too precious about it, we'll just get it clean up, make it look a bit better. So a bit of cutting compound on a rag. If we can get into it. These TD5 TDCI exhausts are stainless steel back end, so they will polish up. Looks a bit better, that. We'll start putting flaps back on now. That's one. For some reason one's a 12 and one's a 13 on this side. That's them back on. A bit of a wipe up to get dust off them. One last job, towing eye. This was one of the very shiny parcels we got from Devonport before last week. Bit of copper slip around it. Let's put cross member bolts back in as well, haven't we? Can't leave them out. I'm sure there's a torque setting for these somewhere, but I think for a minute a couple of ugger duggers will do the job. Get these stainless cross member bolts back in. Always put a bit of copper slip on these when you're putting them back in, especially stainless, but these are already greased up, so that'll be fine. So that's about it. There you have it. Job's a good one. As I say, I won't get anything as round bits Rover spray for a day, so leave it 24 hours before you start cleaning back end at truck up, just to make sure paint's nice and hard. Yeah, that's about it really. For like, I don't know, 60 quid and a couple of hours time, if you want to tattle it, it's well doable. If you don't feel like getting your hands mucky, then get in touch with us, give us a call or drop us an email, and of course we can quote you up for it to do it. So yeah, that's it. Follow us on Facebook for other videos that we're doing and where we're going. We've got France next week, so we're going on as off-road trip to France next weekend, so yeah, follow us on Facebook for other videos, and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. If you like it, drop us a comment below. Thanks for watching.